What's up, everybody? Back for another week of Unspectacular Football Talk with Ray and Dean. We're just going to sit here and talk about everything we got on the board, our Week 1 recap. Dean, let's get right into it, man. Your boys, the Cardinals there, what happened?
That was not a pretty sight, folks. I'm sorry I let y'all down on that. They were supposed to be able to run the ball and stop the run. They didn't either. So it was really ugly, really pathetic, really pitiful. They're going to have to go through some changes. It certainly made me miss the no risk it, no biscuit.
Yeah, I'll just say, the Cardinals pretty much did what I expected them to do. Maybe not play that poorly. I don't expect them to win a ton of games. But one thing they got to do is they got to get some first downs so they can get their defense off the field. Otherwise, their decent defense is going to be tired and not look very good.
It'll make for a really long season.
And with all that, the caveat of it only being Week 1, so none of their starters probably really played a whole lot, so they might not be in game shape yet. Anyway, moving on. The Bills we have written down here.
Yuck.
Yeah,
yuck,
all I got is
yuck,
yuck. Primarily because they failed in all phases of the game. They got blown out by the Ravens pretty hard. What do you think? They might be the worst team in the league?
I think it very, very, very likely could be that. I think their quarterback situation is about as bad as you can hope for. You might as well go ahead and throw Josh Allen out there and stock up on the toilet paper.
Ooh.
That's all we can say here.
Yikes. Moving on to the next guys there, Steelers. I have on there written down Le'Veon Bell, Big Ben. I just say the Steelers, they turned the ball over a ton, obviously. Le'Veon Bell, though, they didn't have him. They ran the ball well.
I didn't really miss him. Yeah. James Conner rushed for 136.
Right. And it kind of makes you wonder if now Le'Veon Bell even has that much leverage in trying to get... we already know that he's probably not going to get a long-term deal.
Agreed.
With the Steelers anyway, maybe somebody else. But I got to say, if I'm the Steelers, I don't know if I even want to try to sign him to a long-term deal based on that performance from Conner.
I agree.
Big Ben, I'm going to refer to him as Bathtub Ben, I think, for the rest of the season based off of his alleged bathtub activities with his 20-year-old woman friend back in the day. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it.
I'm going to have to Google it.
Anyway, the Steelers draw into a tie with the Browns. It's kind of embarrassing for them. I would have figured the Steelers should have blew the Browns out, but
no,
it is what it
that
is.
didn't happen, and I believe I called that in Week 1.
Yeah, you did. Good for you. Moving on to the Cowboys there. I have O-line written down just because I think, their quarterback and skill position players are still decent. It's just their O-line a couple years ago was probably the best in the NFL.
Yes.
Right now, due to some injuries and other people wanting to get paid and leaving the team, their O-line's really bad. I don't know what you have to add to that, but
the O-line, just call it offense. 8 points, that ain't going to get it done in this NFL.
Nope.
You got Ezekiel Elliott, you've got Dak Prescott, you've got a few playmakers. You don't
especially
have,
in the red zone.
Yeah, you don't have Des Bryant, you don't have Jason Witten. Yeah, you're going to take a hit there, but still, again, going back to it, 8 points. No. You're going to need to come up with something new. Just like the damn Cardinals, going to have to come up with something new.
The next team here, the Lions, got a big WTF because, again, just like the Bills,
yes.
They failed in all three phases. What they gave up, an offensive touchdown, a defensive touchdown, and a special teams touchdown within like a minute and like 34 seconds or something.
Went from tied to start the third quarter to 17 down in 2 minutes and 20-some seconds. Yeah. We talked that it's a quarterback-driven league. You got Matthew Stafford, by no means one of your top 5 quarterbacks, but certainly in probably that next tier of 5.
He's a franchise guy who's making a lot of money.
Yeah, and to throw the interceptions that he did, no, there's no real excuse for that. Just leave it at WTF.
The problem, the two things I want to extrapolate just on this one deal here is, one, Matt Stafford throwing those 4 interceptions. I thought that would have been the Matt Stafford of maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. I kind of thought he had that out of his system.
Turn that corner.
But apparently not. Also, Matt Patricia and pretty much anybody else who is an understudy or coordinator or however you want to look at it of
Belichick
Bill Belichick None of them have really shaped out to be very good, which kind of
No.
makes you think that, when we'll talk about them a little bit later, but this guy here, TB12, ultimately the players have to play the game on the field.
Yes.
So just because you sign a coach doesn't necessarily mean that all of a sudden your players are going to be able to complete more passes, be in better shape, not get hurt, and make smarter decisions.
And discipline. It boils down to discipline, and you can see that, Bill Belichick does it with an iron fist. It's not looking like Matt Patricia's got that iron
with a wooden
fist.
pencil.
Yeah.
All right, Houston, your Super Bowl guys there.
Yeah, we can bust out the toilet paper there again. That was definitely a stinker. I really expected a lot more from their defense. I really expect them to be able to get after TB12. The guy is a statue for the most part back there, but he did what he always does and carved him up and made him look silly and stupid.
Yeah, and I'll say too, having the Patriots in Week 1, it's a rough draw. So
yeah,
and that's what's his face's first game back from injury. Their quarterback, well, I don't know,
Deshaun Watson. J.J. Watt too went merciless.
Right.
A whole bunch, and we talked about this in our pre-show here together. The first 4 weeks of the NFL season are really the training camp.
It's kind of like none of your starters play that long,
No.
so you don't know how good a shape they're going to be in. So.
No, and it'll take 4 weeks. You try to get through it 2-2 and see if things can clear on out. It's still a bit too early to get off the bandwagon. However, yeah, it certainly makes me question that pick.
Right. Anyway, and then the Saints, my NFC Super Bowl pick. Their offense looks good, but good Lord, Ryan Fitzmagic, right?
They definitely ran into a throwback to the fountain of youth there. He found something. That was...
Well, and we talked about this earlier in the week. Ryan Fitzpatrick, he has the ability to do that once every 2 or 3 years.
Well,
and then all of a sudden,
few times a year, he put together a good year with the Jets.
The Jets paid him, and then he was trash after that. Anyway, speaking of the Jets, moving on away from all this negativity to some more positive vibes here.
The positive vibes, that's the truth.
The Jets, man, what'd you think? Real deal?
The defense certainly looked good, and Todd Bowles is a defensive coach. He wanted to run the ball. He wanted to play smart defense. Thanks to some very poor Matt Stafford decisions, he did both. And you didn't ask Sam Darnold to do too much, which gets us to down here. Sam Darnold, I like the guy. You start with a pick six. That's easy for the wheels to come off the bus and let everything go downhill from there. He didn't. Kudos to the Jets. Kudos to Sam Darnold. Too early to tell, but definitely worth keeping a watch on.
It's only week 1, and obviously the Lions didn't play well. But again, in all 3 phases, they played really well. Sam Darnold looked really good. They ran the ball. Their defense was solid. Obviously forced a lot of turnovers. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens when they play somebody who aren't the Lions. But
True.
Anyway, Chiefs, what you got there?
Chiefs, looking damn good too. You can see why they let Alex Smith walk. Patrick Mahomes, he certainly looked the part.
Looking nice.
He looked like a younger, stronger-armed version of Alex Smith. If you seen that pass in the preseason, that 70-yard strike to Hill, a thing of beauty. Once in a generational arm talent.
And you mentioned him too, Tyreek Hill. My goodness,
Fast.
That guy! You get him and
Fast.
Yeah, he outruns everyone. So that'll help Mahomes as well.
That and a good defense, But then again, this is the Chiefs we're talking about, and more so than that, this is an Andy Reid coach team. They'll always look great in the regular season, and the playoffs will come, and they'll be lucky to stretch a win out, and most likely not.
Yeah, we'll see. The Browns, the only thing I'll say about the Browns, well, not the only thing. I got quite a few things I could talk about.
You do have some things.
The Browns, all I'm just going to say is everyone's, I got people coming telling me, hey, the Browns, you should be excited. The Browns, you're a Browns fan, right? They're looking pretty good. But the fact of the matter is, man, they were +5 in the turnover ratio. They still only managed to squeak out a tie. The Steelers were begging them to win the game.
Yes.
Right? And they couldn't do it.
No.
So, we'd have Tyrod Taylor he couldn't complete passes to open receivers, and probably the best receiving core in the league. But anyway, I just want to mention that the Browns didn't draft this guy.
They did not.
Who looked really good. They could have drafted this guy.
They could have drafted.
They could have. They didn't do
Yes.
it. And I got some numbers written down here, which is kind of chicken scratchy. I wrote it poorly, but see this number here: 132, 4-1. Now you're probably wondering, what is that? What that stands for is teams that are +5 in the turnover margin.
Yeah, and what was Cleveland, by the way, in that game?
Cleveland was +5 in the turnover
okay.
ratio.
We're going somewhere, folks.
Yeah, this is all related to the Browns. So teams historically that are +5 in the turnover ratio are 132, 4-1.
That's 132 wins.
132 wins.
4 losses, and 1 tie.
1 tie. 2 out of these 4 losses were Browns, and that 1 tie was just this past Sunday against the Steelers. So even when the Browns get this +5 turnover margin, they still find a way to get two losses and a tie. It's just no. I'm not excited about the Browns.
Why are you raining on my Browns parade?
That's a great prediction by you, but I'm just saying as a fan, if you're asking me, hey man, they're gonna. It's like, no, I just win the game. People are always telling me you're excited about a tie. If you want to make it to the playoffs, you have to win games, especially games that you're +5 in the turnover margin.
Agreed. This should have been a win for them. There's no way around it. It could have been a win for the Steelers just as easily. However, if you want to be a playoff team and you want to make that turn, those are games you got to win.
You got to win.
But going back to what you pointed out with the +5, that's how teams. There's 2 ways a team makes a drastic improvement. From one year to the next. And that's number 1, finding a franchise quarterback. Number 2 is putting together a hell of a defense. And you take away the ball, was it 5?
Well, they actually took the ball away
6 times. They gave 1 themselves and stuff. So some of us don't have the Sunday ticket and stuff. So we were just, forced to catch little highlights throughout.
Well, I don't have Sunday ticket. I was
you were just at a friend's
bumming
house
off of a Lions
and
fan.
stuff. So yeah and stuff. So, but a defense and that'll keep you in games. And you're a young team. You're trying to turn that corner. If they took something positive out of the game, come out next week, play a little bit harder, a little bit smarter. And maybe find this guy that we're moving on to next.
AFR stands for Aaron Effin Rodgers. And all I got to say,
wow.
This guy, we were gushing about him in last week's episode.
And now you see why.
Yes, he somehow, a couple times a year, will end up doing something that just kind of blows you away.
A couple?
Well, maybe more
Usually
than a couple.
more.
But so anyway, I'm watching this game. I'm on the couch. I'm kind of falling asleep, and it's like, what was it, 17-0 or something before I knew it. And Aaron Rodgers got carted off, and just the way he was looking up in the stands and the lights and stuff, I thought he was just like taking it all in because he was about to miss the season again.
Another substantial portion of the season.
Deshaun Kaiser, former Brown, by the way, goes out there and just looks like absolute garbage like he does. Certainly no Aaron Rodgers.
No.
And Khalil Mack, this guy we have here, Khalil Mack was a complete
also,
terror.
Wow.
Yeah. He was a defense all unto himself.
If the Raiders and John Gruden weren't watching that one and going, oops.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Yeah, just silly how well he was playing. But anyway, Aaron Rodgers came back out in the second half. Looked like he could hardly put any weight on his
left leg.
His back leg, and he was still slinging these like torso only balls. One was like a 40-yard strike into the back of the end zone for a touchdown. I don't know what to say other than you guys just if you're into football, you should already know this. If you're not and you're getting into it, watch Aaron Rodgers anytime you get the chance because He's a once-in-a-lifetime talent. I'd tell you.
If he's on TV, he's must-watch TV.
This guy, TB12 is considered the greatest quarterback of all time, maybe arguably
He's got the greatest resume. He's got the greatest resume
with
of
Joe
all time.
Montana and maybe a few others you might want to throw in there. But I tell you, in terms of raw talent, in terms of just arm strength, accuracy, speed,
clutch.
Just clutchness. Yeah, the film study, just the awareness on the field, just the total package. This guy is a freak, and he doesn't look like him much special. When you see him on the physically, but I'm not gonna keep talking about it because I'm gonna make myself puke.
Yep, gotta move on.
Anyway, moving on to this other guy who's I want to say is probably the exact opposite.
Came out with all the hype.
Yeah, was drafted.
The successor to Peyton Manning.
Yeah, like he's going to be the greatest quarterback of all time before he even played it down. I just want to say he came back. Welcome back, Andrew Luck, after your snowboard injury shoulder deal thingy that you had, to immediately come back and throw an interception, and then you end up losing to the Bengals. Congratulations. Anyway, Saquon Barkley.
Could be the Bengals year.
Yeah. Saquon Barkley, what'd you want to say about him?
Wow. Again, you can see why
he seems like the real deal.
He is going to be the real deal and stuff. Running backs may not last long, but enjoy while you can, because that 68-yard touchdown run was Stay tuned. Technical difficulties,
This
folks.
is why it's unspectacular. Anyway, keep going, Dean.
So beautiful speed, power. Once they put it all together, line gets some time together, working with Eli Manning. You're going to see some good stuff, folks. You're going to see some good stuff out of him.
Sam Darnold, I kind of already talked about. I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to say about
No,
him.
I didn't. There was, questions about his decision making. You saw it on the first pass and stuff like that. But, I don't know of a rookie quarterback that's, came into the NFL and hasn't thrown an interception at some point. So, it's going to happen.
Brett Favre threw a pick six.
On his first one?
I think on his very first NFL pass, yeah.
Was that with Atlanta, or is that?
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. It could have been.
That's too long.
That don't matter.
So.
Anyway, and then TB12 just kind of did what TB12 normally does.
Yeah, we hate talking about the guy, but that's. Yeah, I don't want to see him there, but based on that performance from Week 1 at the end of the season, I certainly wouldn't be surprised to see him at the big game, since nobody calls it the Super Bowl anymore. We're not restricted by such constraints, but still we'll jump on the band. Yeah, we'll still jump on the big game.
Yeah.
So.
Hey.
From there, I'd say that leads us to the new segment of the show. We're going to call it the bandwagon. We're going to pick a few things each week. First, we're going to start with a few things. What do you like that you might be jumping on the bandwagon for?
Well, I don't want to say that I'm on the Jets bandwagon quite yet, but I'm close.
You're eyeballing it.
Yeah, with that.
I agree.
With that, as far as that goes, in terms of I guess teams that I thought the Jets were going to be one of the worst teams in the league coming into the season. But now that I've seen them in action, and of course it was against the Lions, who might not be so hot this year. They would be the one team that I thought would be kind of bad. That I would be willing, if you give me another week 2, a good performance. Maybe I'll jump on yours. There's plenty of teams.
Put at least a hand on the bandwagon.
Yeah, we'll get close. We'll ask how much it costs for a ride on the wagon.
There you go.
What about you? You got anybody who you'd want to hop on?
I didn't want to. I didn't want to do it, but I gotta say I think I'm gonna have to get on the Rams bandwagon. I hated the fact that they left St. Louis, and I really wanted to hate them, but they are just a really fun team to watch.
And they're good.
I kind of last week made the proclamation that I liked Ezekiel Elliott better than Todd Gurley. I might have to eat crow on that. The guy is freaking good.
Yes.
Jared Goff, I'm not 100% sold on him. I think he's more a product of the system than actual talent. But
he's got a lot of help.
He does have a lot of help. That defense has only gotten better. I find it hard to not jump on the bandwagon a little bit on that one.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I figured they'd win the division anyway. I didn't think maybe this would be their year to push for the Super Bowl, but maybe it is. Maybe it is, as well as they looked against the Raiders.
What about an individual person? You wanna jump on the Fitzmagic bandwagon yet?
No. I will never jump on the Fitzmagic bandwagon.
Well, damn.
I think I can jump off of the Le'Veon Bell bandwagon and say, go
ahead.
And,
I don't feel sorry for the guy. I don't remember exactly what the franchise tag was for running back for him. It was his second consecutive, so I know that escalates it.
Yeah.
I believe it was 16
It was
million
in the teens,
and stuff. So, I know it's hard to bleed from two gas station guys, but we're not seeing 16 mil.
No.
Well,
not that somebody might owe him that money, and it'd be possibly well invested, but from what the Steelers had going on against the Browns, it doesn't look like they really need him. Honestly.
Yeah, I agree. So I could certainly not disagree with that.
The Lions, I'll say, not that I thought that they were going to necessarily do anything special, but with my Lions fan that I was talking with when we went over their schedule, kind of at the beginning of the year, I thought they'd go 9-7, maybe 10-6, maybe have an outside shot at making the playoffs. Although in the NFC, especially in their division, it'd be tough. They'd have to steal some games from the Vikings or Packers probably. But
it's certainly not looking like that's going to happen.
It's just, man, I tell you, it's just bad. So, not that I was really on their bandwagon, but if I was even thinking about getting on, I'm running away now.
All right. Okay, what about some jumping off bandwagons? Anything? You still high on the Saints?
Yeah, I still think the Saints, they put up a lot of points. I just think, again, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and don't get me wrong, dude, Ryan Fitzpatrick has two stud receivers to throw the ball to.
Yes.
And Mike Evans and... what's his face? Deshaun Jackson.
Deshaun Jackson.
So, and again, it being week 1, maybe their defense is a little out of shape. So, I don't know. I'm staying on the Saints bandwagon. I would say the Cowboys maybe. I thought maybe once the regular season started, they'd kind of come back to life.
Pull things
but
around.
now it's just looking like their offensive line probably isn't going to be good enough to. I mean. They can't. Doesn't seem like the score. I know Carolina's defense is decent, but I didn't think it shouldn't be good enough to stop the Cowboys from scoring, more than 8 points. But.
Yeah, and if I had to jump off of anybody, not that I was necessarily on them, but after watching last night's game, I'd have to jump off the Raiders bandwagon. I was never all that sold on John Gruden as a genius, great coach anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I think last night, showed just that, and I think that'll be a good chunk of the reason why.
Yeah, they could be gearing up for their move to
Las Vegas.
Well, I don't know what else you got. Anything?
Don't really have a whole lot else. Individual people, we can talk about a little bit, jumping off the bandwagon. Again, week 1. Too early to tell, but certainly Matt Stafford would probably be the highlight.
Yeah.
Of a person to go ahead and get off of.
It's a franchise quarterback who's making a ton of money and
certainly looked like he was mailing it in.
Although I did like Sam Castle stepping in for a few throws and also throwing an interception. That was nice as well.
Matt Castle?
What did I say? Sam Castle?
Sam Castle.
I'm getting Sam Cassell, the former Milwaukee Buck NBA All-Star, who looks like an alien. Google that.
Yes, he does.
Sam Cassell.
Actually, don't. It'll just scare you.
Matt Castle, for some reason. But yeah, I think that's probably going to do it for me and Dean here. And
this week.
Yeah.
Just happy to have football back.
Yeah,
Woo-hoo!
happy to have football, and we're going to probably just end this unspectacularly right about now.